and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
All filled with noise, the truth needs the voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Mr. Familoni, and here's to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
Arara, my name is Made Kuti, and you're watching VOP TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is VOP TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
In In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as they hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to Political Lens. Now this is Voice of the People Television and I'm Chukwuma Okoro. In the next 1 hour or so, I will take you through very interesting trending political stories across the nation. because on the show today, we are going to talk about 2027 and the quest for credible elections. When we move away from that, 16 coup plots has to be court-martialed. Now, this is coming from the defense headquarters. As APC says, no plans to drop Shetima as Tinubu's running mate. Well, we've been joined virtually by Mr. Felix Pascal Pulevo. Mr. Pulevo is the Taraba State Chairman of the Youth Party of Nigeria. Good evening to you, Honorable Felix Pascal Pulevo, and thanks for joining me on Political Lens.
Thank you, Mr. Chukuma. It's my pleasure to be here. Happy New Year.
Big time. Happy New Year. I've not seen you this year. Good to see you. How have you been, sir?
Yeah, thank you.
How is the Northeast doing in terms of security, politics, and all of that?
The Northeast is fine. Security-wise, I think there is a great deal of improvement, but it's politics that is bubbling, and it's one of our topics for the evening. You know, Are we going to be involved? Are we going to be involved in the equation 2027? Are we going to be booted out? How is it going to be? Will there be a change for us, or is it going to be a total replacement where we'll be sidelined? So a lot of things are really happening out here, and then our people are really keeping their fingers crossed to see how the pendulum swings.
Okay, yes, a lot is happening. But I think I'm correct. Your state governor is still a member of the PDP, or am I getting something? Is there a mix-up there?
No, he has moved to the APC.
Abu Kefas, okay, he has moved to the APC. Well, that's very interesting.
The defection rally has been slated for this Saturday, 31st.
Okay, 31st of January, 2026. Yes. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a bit. Now, let's get into it. As Nigeria edges closer to the 2027 general elections on the front burner, political tension is rising across the country. Opposition parties, civil society groups, and ordinary citizens are intensifying calls for an electoral process that is free, fair, and truly credible amid widespread concerns over public trust, economic hardship, and the future of democratic accountability. While complicating the political landscape is an unusual wave of defections, with opposition governors and key political figures crossing over to the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. This movement has sparked debates about political ideology, survival politics, and the balance of power ahead of the polls, raising fresh questions about the strength and cohesion of the opposition. On today's program, we will examine what these defections mean for Nigeria's democracy, the credibility of the 2027 elections, and whether the electorate's demand for transparent leadership can withstand the pressures of elite realignments and power politics. Honorable Pascal, the quest for free, fair, and credible elections have been on the front burner for a long time, as long as the first election that ushered in the first government of the Fourth Republic, talking about the Obasanjo administration, you know, the 1919 federal elections, the 2023 federal elections, and the 2027 federal elections. What's your assessment of our journey so far in the pursuit of credible elections? I'd like for you to take a holistic view of how we have traveled between 1999 and 2023 in terms of our elections. How free, fair, credible they have been? Are we making progress, or what's your assessment of the whole electioneering process in Nigeria?
A credible election is not just gotten by imaginations or speculations. It's something that is worked on, it's something that more or less you have to be intentional about. The people have to make up their minds and say, we want this. Just the way you and I are in the studio, this is you are in the studio and I'm here in this program, it's out of intention. You know, we decided and scheduled to this session and said, okay, let's come together. Let's rub minds on these issues and see how we can educate ourselves and Nigerians on some topical issues politically. So that is how it is if a nation wants to get it right, especially in terms of elections. When we came back to this democratic era in 1999, after the military era that spanked down to 98, you know, that ended up with a Abacha session, when we came back in 1999, there was a little bit of political consciousness. A lot of our people weren't politically conscious. There was still fear in the minds of people because they felt the military were still around. And then a lot were scared to dare. A lot were scared to get involved in the political business, per se. And then so many persons just had their way. We cannot really say the elections were more or less largely contested. They were not, because there are commentaries that portrays to the fact that most of these guys were just begged to come in, take up this one, take up that one. We just needed to have a structure. We are just rushing up to see that we have a democracy. And then we send back the military to the barracks and all whatnot. So we had that consciousness was very low in terms of the demands from the people of good governance and all whatnot, because the demand from the people will trigger their commitment and interest in the process, which can give birth to a credible election or one that will be marred by a lot of irregularities. So when we came on board in 1999, there were a lot of challenges with our electoral guidelines, but then because of low consciousness politically, we didn't have much of litigations, because a lot of people were not even interested in the process. So a lot of persons will not even take it up to challenging processes, whether they are done right or wrong. But then when 2023 came on board, you know that already even the second term for OBJ was not just completely rosy. People are beginning to feel like, wow, this democracy seems to be here. And then let us begin to key into the business and pick interest in the process. That was anchored and monitored under the Maurice Iwu era. But we have it down in our history that one of those moments that were not really too good for our politicking was the Maurice Iwu era, where results were just written. It was so eminent that during that kind of period that you wouldn't have a sitting governor lose his seat, you wouldn't have a sitting senator or House of Reps member or State House of Assembly member lose his seat for whatsoever reason. Anybody that is being anointed by an incumbent automatically becomes a winner, because those results were mostly written in certain palaces, in certain offices, and in the villa. And people were not so much politically conscious enough to challenge the status quo or to try to even come together and vote, protect their votes, and ensure that their votes counted. So we had those kind of horrible moments all through. In fact, climaxing to like 2007, when Obasanjo was struggling for his third term and he didn't see the light of day. So 2007 ushered in some high degree of political consciousness, because for even the senators who were more or less at that time just at the beck and call of the president, who at that time, if you are not in the good books of the president will just boot you out and change. We could have two Senate presidents within a particular dispensation. A House of Reps speaker can just be booted out at any moment, because the president doesn't like you, or you've gone contrary to what what the president wants at a particular time. So, but the consciousness was beginning to set in, so much so that in 2007, we could have a lot of our National Assembly members dear the sitting president. They could look into the face of the sitting president and say, Mr. President, we will not support third term. And that was strengthening our democracy. Okay. It was strengthening the electoral process, gradually. And by 2011, you could see that there was a lot of advancement. Okay. There was a lot of consciousness now. We are beginning to have the electoral laws being modified. A lot of things were beginning to come in, so much so that people were beginning to pick interest in going to the courts now to challenge some of the results. And that prompted the need to rejig some of the laws, to edit them, to make them in tandem with current realities, so much so that people are not cheated and all whatnot. So we did all those things, and in 2015, we saw how even an incumbent president lost his seat because of high level of consciousness now. Social media came on board, people were beginning to be more conscientized, educated. Cable televisions were more open now. People now believe that democracy have come to stay, and there is need to key into the business properly. Underdevelopment was hitting hard on a lot of people. Poverty, hunger, restiveness was on the rise. And it made people to like, no, there is need for us to key into this business or else we die here like animals in the bush. So people were beginning to be more conscious and people were taking interest in the whole process. And with that, it made a lot of difference in our politicking, so much so that people were beginning to question a lot of the processes. The era where ballot papers, ballot boxes were just snatched was beginning to dwindle. The era where results were just written in certain palaces and offices were beginning to pave way for due diligence. And that was why, because if it was like the 2011, 2000 and more or less 27, 23 era down to 99, it would have been practically impossible for a Goodluck to have lost his presidency as an incumbent president, while seeking re-election. So, but because people are now conscious, people voted, people stood, and ensured that they monitored the vote, they followed up with the votes, and they challenged everything. You could see that during the coalition in 2015, during the coalition, people were thinking it was going to be business as usual, where a lot of persons wanted to act up, let's cause confusion and then just cause problems here and there, and then the whole process is annulled. But then, because the power of the people stood strong, I'm telling you, one of those things is the power of the people that probably also prompted the then president, Goodluck Jonathan, to feel that his ambition is not just worth the lives of a lot of people, because that is a statement he made. My ambition is not worth the blood of Nigerians. And by that, it simply meant that at the quest of trying to remain in this seat, it will not be worthwhile that so many Nigerians die, because Nigerians were conscious now. Nigerians wanted the change. And so if this is what they wanted, let it be. May it be. So let it not be that I want to put myself hard on them and then it will lead to the death of so many people. So the fact that we are getting a lot of litigations, a lot of pressure, from civil society organizations and all whatnot for the rejigging and modification of our laws that are guiding our elections, are pointers to the fact that the people are getting more conscious, the people are becoming more intentional, and the people are desiring good governance and credible election in the country. With organizations like Yaga Africa that at some point I was a part of, there have been intentional movements, intentional and conscious conversations on the table, which is even ongoing up to tomorrow, for our electoral laws to be made better than the way they have been. So even the litigations you see in court, because hitherto, people are winning elections in the courts, which is not really too good for our elections, because it was not supposed to be that the courts will have to always be ruling, annulling this one, declaring that one winner and all whatnot, because the process was marred by a lot of irregularities. But with the fine-tuning of some of the laws, it was reducing level of litigation. Even the laws are being modified, even the legal processes have been modified and are making the process better. And I'm sure, going by what we have on ground so far and the level of consciousness of the people in this electoral process, come 2027, with some of the banters and some of the calls and the demands from the people, come 2027, the people will try to speak, and the voices will speak so loudly that the people in power will have to really be very careful and not just feel it's going to be business as usual where they
I must say this is a very deep and historical insight that you have given us, about the way we have traveled in elections. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
Okay, yes. Now, you have said a lot, and I think our viewers will have picked quite a lot of things. Now, I would like to ask you, when we started out, I talked about your governor defecting to the All Progressives Congress, the ruling party at the center. Now, is there a nexus between free, fair, and credible elections and the party system in operations, like one-party system, two-party system, or multi-party system? What I mean, my direct question is that, do you think that the kind of party system we run is going to impact on the credibility or otherwise of the electoral process? Is there a nexus Are you able to, can you help us untie that knot? Because sometimes it gets confusing.
Candidly, having a one-party system as the incumbent president is diplomatically trying to make Nigeria into will not be good for democracy. Because when it is a one-party state, it is just going to be a gathering of some people with the objectives which sometimes may not really reflect what is truly there in their books, the guidelines, the manifestos, and all whatnot. It will just be how we handle these resources, how we maximize it, how we share it among ourselves for our own personal gains as against the will of the people. And there won't be opposition voices that will challenge the status quo and see that the incumbent or those in power are doing the right thing. So a one-party state is not something Nigeria and Nigerians must ever allow this country to slump into, because it is really going to be terrible for us. Now, a lot of these guys now, because you see that most of the things that are even cajoling some of these people into the ruling party, some of them have underperformed. Some are currently underperforming. Some have the intention to underperform, and so are looking for a safe haven. Because they feel that if they remain in the opposition, probably some of the agencies of government that are supposed to checkmate underperformance, corruption, and all whatnot may come after them. Just as we've heard shamefully in this country, renowned individuals, senators, former governors, standing up and talking to Nigerians, expressing the fact that come to the ruling party and your sins are forgiven, which is sad. These are not statements that are supposed to be accredited to us as Nigerians, as a country that is desirous of development, in whatsoever level. So that is one of the things that is cajoling people into some of these places. And until when we see a situation, so you see that it will be difficult. It will be difficult for a sitting government, one party, to be prosecuting itself left, right, center. So much so that when you are shortlisted for prosecution for certain things that you've done wrong, people will now run to the presidency, will run to the corridor of power, and begin to just go and plead. These people are trying to do me like this. Please help me out, sir. This is almost what is about playing out in reverse. He is feeling, okay, I'm in the opposition. We will keep fighting in the opposition. And then this other guy, the former governor now, he is there. He's in the corridor of power. He is going to be using his closeness to the corridor of power to frustrate me. So I should also cross over so that I can enjoy some support of the federal government. Okay. I can enjoy some support of the president.
All right. All right, Honorable Pulevo, I like the point that you have brought us to, and talking about, in the course of your intervention, you said something about the power of the people, that is the one that is driving the process. Now, I'd like for us to talk about the power of the people. We see 29 governors now in the All Progressives Congress. Now, when these governors move, they always tell their people, look, we want to align, with the center, because we see what the president is doing, the massive work, the good work that the president is doing. Now, if we talk about people power, and you say that some of these governors are moving because they have underperformed, some intend to underperform, and some have actually don't even have a direction. What role do you think that the power of the people will play in 2027? For the fact that the governors have all moved to the APC, 29 of them at last count, and we hope to see more, because at some point, the APC boasted, well, before the end of 2026, before the elections proper, we will have about 32 governors. In that instance, do you see the power of the people playing out, or will it be the power of the elite in terms of the governor deciding how the elections will run in 2027?
The power of the people will play out in a lot of the states we have in this country. There are actually a lot of our states currently that are under democratic slavery, more or less, or democratic dictatorship by some few individuals. Because there are a lot of we don't have a lot of voices that can stand and challenge the status quo. But I assure you that come 2027, let them keep going over to the APC. They will gather in the APC. There will be a lot of tsunami that will hit them there, sir. Many persons there, you cannot justify the fact that you want to align with the center because you want to bring about development in your state. For example, sir, respectfully, the governor of Enugu State, which other alignment with the center to bring development. He has done wonderfully well within his first tenure. Look at the past 2 years. Look at the good stories that are coming out of Enugu State. You have done this from the opposition, sir. So what is you are among the best performing governors in the state. It is just personal interest. That sense of security and assurance of I feel I can just win easily when I'm aligning with the center. Or probably because as I'm there in the opposition, a lot of voices may be there, you know, from the ruling party, or if somebody in the ruling party now gets the ticket, you know, he may come and the federal might can be used against me. In that analysis, the person is believing more in the power of Aso Rock than in the power of the people. There are a lot of them that will be rejected. So I'm up today. Some of these government was carpeting. Some of them may even lose their seats, sir.
Okay, so apparently the power of the people is going to count in 2027. Well, that's optimism, but a lot of people also still believe in cautious optimism. Let's see how it happens in 2027. Now, I would like to ask you, when we talk about free, fair, and credible elections, you know, are they tied to the letters of the law, like the Electoral Acts, the Constitution, or the credibility of the operators? I ask this question in light of the fact that one of the elections are judged to be the best, the freest, and the most credible in Nigeria's history was the June 12th election in 1993. And on top of my head, I can't recall, you know, the electoral laws, the guidelines, you know, the constitutional provisions and all of that guided that election. It was after Yar'Adua admitted, oh, well, the process that brought me, you know, was faulty, and so he initiated electoral reforms. In 1993, it was just, the only thing we knew then was option A4. So when we talk about credible elections, are we looking at the letters of the Constitution, the Electoral Act, or the credibility of the operators? Which one should be our major concern when we talk about credible elections?
It is about even the power of the people, to me. It's not even so much in the letters of the law or the operators per se. It is in the power of the people on the basis that the people are the ones to checkmate the operators. So if Nigerians, for example, now just relax and say INEC, led by the current INEC chairman, should just have their way, these are the guidelines they've put on ground and all whatnot, and then they just go about conducting elections, declaring individuals that the people have not voted for. I tell you what helped 1993 election to be considered one of the freest in this country was the fact that the people wanted it. The people stood for it. You could see Nigerians, you know, running under the scorching sun, standing under the scorching sun, clamoring for an individual, an Abiola at a time. You know, not considering the fact that he was a northerner, a southerner, a Muslim, or a Christian, but because we want him, we believe in him, we believe he can do it. So that is the willpower. And over time, it pressured the agencies. I tell you that if it was not so much because the people stood their ground, even the results, the collated results, that today we say Abiola won that election, wouldn't have even been collated in his favor, since the powers that be then didn't want such, you know. So if the people can stand up in 2027 and say, this is what we voted for, we are going to stand for it, we will defend it, and we will not allow our mandate to be taken by anybody. I tell you, even the operators of the election will be so much on their toes. They will be very careful.
Okay.
Much more than saying, okay, sir, thank you, sir, well done, sir, we will do it, sir. They will be like, sir, this will not go work. Oh. These people are really on us. Oh. Sir, my life is being threatened to. I cannot do this, you know, because the people will stand to defend the mandate they have given to individuals.
The people will stand to defend the mandate they have given to the individual. Now, Honorable, thank you for leading me to my next question. Now, how prepared do you think that Nigerians are, talking about the power of the people in 2027? If you look at, you know, the hardship in the land, the fact that the economy is in decline, there is insecurity everywhere. You know, there is hardship across the board. Everybody is feeling it. Even the rich and mighty. How prepared do you think that the people are to face 2027 and say, look, this is our destiny and we have to take it into our hands? And also, I would like for you to consider the fact that under the circumstances we have found ourselves, a lot of people believe in, well, stomach infrastructure. If this is what I can get now, let me just take it, because in the next 4 years, nothing will come to me. So how prepared do you think that Nigerians are to ensure that, look, 2027 belongs to the people, the power of the people?
It's actually a sad reality that the poverty of the mind is playing out a lot in a lot of parts of this country, especially the stomach infrastructure you mentioned, on the basis that some people just feel. I remember while going to campaign, even in 2023, some women will just tell you, give us now, just give me my own money, give me my own share of the thing in case I die tomorrow. And I will be asking them, will you die the same day with all your children? You know, and then they'll be like, just give me my own. My children get their own life where they will live later on. That is how sad and challenging the situation is in a lot of the parts of this country. But then fear a situation whereby, so the politicians know this and are capitalizing greatly on it, on the basis that most often they impoverish the people, they inflict high level of poverty through underdevelopment, through lack of proper and judicious fair share of the resources that are under their control. So the people get very much impoverished, and then when they come around now with 10 kg of rice by 2026 Christmas and give it out to the people will be chanting their names. When they come around with branded wrappers and give it to women, they'll be chanting their names. When they come around with their Maggi and spaghetti, they'll be chanting their names. But we have also seen a situation like in Taraba State. Our former governor, Darius Ishaku, he came with the spaghetti. During campaigning, he said, I've brought spaghetti for people, I've brought palm oil for people, I've brought Maggi and wrappers for you. They collected the Maggi and rejected him. And even governor, he lost his senatorial seat that he was contesting for. That is the level of consciousness a lot of these people are now having. And come 2027, sir, like last 2 weeks, I was in the Board of Internal Revenue Office, and then we were discussing with the in charge there, the tax law and all whatnot. And then I was telling him there is an African proverb, I don't know how to put it, let me see. I think basically it says that if the gods want to kill somebody, they first make him mad. I think something like that. You know?
Yes, that's correct.
So I said, I was telling him, I said, I think that is probably what is about to happen to the incumbent president. That when you are about to lose, when you are just going to lose power, you run out of ideas and you begin to carry on certain ideas or certain principles or guidelines that will cause confusion and cause problems in the mind that will inflict a lot of
you have said something that is quite instructive. Do you think that Tinubu will lose 2027 if things continue to go in this direction?
If things continue to go in this direction and the opposition, topically ADC, get their game right, I tell you before 1 p.m., Tinubu would have been out of power.
Thank you very much. Now, what do you think that the opposition can do to take power from the ruling APC? Briefly.
They need to get coordinated. Let an Atiku be humble enough to just relax. That's my candid position. This is a southern affair for now. We want one Nigeria, right? So let an Atiku just support a southern candidate. Let us get a formidable candidate, a formidable force around this candidate and support him for 2020. This is what gave Tinubu an edge. He has been there. When they wanted to oustate Goodluck, when they wanted to remove Goodluck in 2015, it was a turn of the South. Goodluck just spent 4 years. So they felt it was still the turn of the South to finish the second term, right? But Tinubu did not say, I want it. As a Southerner, looked for a Buhari and supported Buhari, carried Buhari issue on his head. And that was why in 2023, after 8 years of Buhari era, he now said, Emelikon, it's now my turn because I've paid my bills. I've supported you people. So I think it's also my turn now. So I've invested a lot in this venture. So Atiku needs to think along that line. It's not an everything thing.
Okay, apparently from your position, what they are telling us is that if Atiku runs, that the ADC is going to lose the election. Pure and simple.
Definitely. Forget about the people feeling or saying that the North, Atiku is not really, is not like Buhari in the North. That's the truth. It's not like a Buhari in the North. So it's for the opposition, especially ADC, to have put their things in order, future a southern candidate, get a very reliable person from the North, as a running mate, and then we face him head on. Because this tax law alone, is really going to send the president out of that villa
Okay,
if
so
he is not very.
think the tax law is a huge issue for the president?
One judge challenge up north here now with regards to the tax issue is the fact that in most countries where these tax laws are there, we are not just going to be copying these things without considering other factors. Where these taxes have been put this kind of way, there are a lot of things that the citizens enjoy from the government. They are not talking about electricity in those countries. They are not talking about roads. They are not talking about water. But here we are battling with these kind of issues. Our people dying every minute, because of bad roads. We don't have water, we don't have electricity. And then you are imposing some of these measures of tax on people, so much so that it's difficult, no matter how they try to paraphrase the thing and structure it and paint it well.
Honorable, talking about paraphrasing it and trying to restructure it, I'm happy that we can feel the pulse of the North through you. Do you think that the North has been adequately informed, about the letters, the clauses of the tax law, to the extent that they see, it is clearly disadvantageous to the North? Do you think that we've been properly educated about the letters of that tax law?
There is a challenge with
or is it some kind of misconception? It's just anti-North. What do you think?
That is, bad name flies very fast. Okay. As much as good name doesn't die. And in as far as it is politics, when today, during an election day, somebody goes around and says, this person has stepped down for the other, it will take you a lot to really cancel that from the minds of a lot of people. Some gullible individuals may even go back home and not vote for you. Now, there is no proper education about this tax law in the North. It's a reality. That's one issue. But however it is, an average Northerner just feels that this guy he just wants to crush us. He just wants to collect all the money from us, and all whatnot. There are a lot that may not even be. And because some people want the power, they will not even be kind enough to say we will educate the people appropriately.
Okay.
Those of them that are leaders in the North, they will not. They will rather come and magnify it. This guy has brought in tax laws and measures to even crush you more. He has not secured your lands. The little farming you are doing, bandits are killing you in the farms and all whatnot. The little land you are getting, he wants to collect most part of it again in form of tax. And then it's getting the people more angry. Okay. It's more political.
It's more political.
So it is something that he has to be proactive about it.
Okay,
for me, I feel it's not...
Honorable, we are out of time and we have two other topics to talk about. I have to bring you back here some other time, so that we can talk about the tax laws and the Article presidency in 2027. Now, let's move on to the next topic of discussion. No fewer than 16 Nigerian military officers are facing life imprisonment or death penalty after being indicted for allegedly plotting to overthrow President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Well, the officers detained since October 2025 were found culpable following an internal military investigation, with the defense headquarters confirming that the probe panel has submitted its report to the appropriate authorities. Well, according to the Armed Forces of Nigeria, those with cases to answer will be rearranged before a court-martial in line with the Armed Forces Act. Military authorities insist the process is disciplinary, guided by due process, and aimed at preserving professionalism, loyalty, and constitutional order within the ranks. Retired senior officers said attempted coup attracts the death penalty under military law, unless the president exercises prerogative of mercy, clemency. Well, they argued that strict punishment will serve as a deterrent, citing Nigeria's history where past coup plotters were executed or imprisoned, reinforcing the military's role in safeguarding democracy. Now, Honorable, from denial to acceptance, now court-martial, what's your reaction to this issue of coup plotting? 16 officers.
This is a very interesting issue on the basis that, with the 24th December attack by the U.S. in Nigeria, with the Venezuela experience, with some of these issues happening in some of our neighboring countries of Niger, in Benin, of military takeover, our president, will definitely try to be very proactive to save his head, from these guys. But then the first thing is, why even the contemplation of a coup in Nigeria? That's the first question. So what even motivated or prompted those individuals to even contemplate staging a coup or overthrowing a democratically elected government, it is because of bad governance, injustice, lack of fulfillment of promises that have been made, even while holding the holy books.
Okay.
Thank you enough. So you will now see that we are not justifying the fact that, yes, this guy did, our laws have made it very clear.
Okay.
It's treason. Once you want to come up against the democratically constituted government, is wrong and all whatnot. This is what we've agreed at the moment. But I think as much as we will have to punish them in line with the letters of the law, we must look at the causal factors.
Okay, the
that
causal
possibly
factors.
What would have led to this thing? So if it is under development, Nigerians must be able to rise. These are individuals who plotted the coup. But then there could be a bigger coup by the Nigerian people, which is putting you out of power through the ballot, putting you out of power through the ballot, and then revolting, because these are tendencies for 2027.
Okay, so the government should actually be very careful. Now, a preponderance of the officers, of these officers are from the north. Does that speak to a kind of dissent arising from the seeming dissatisfaction of the north with the government of Tinubu? If you look at the 16 of them, I think about 13 of them are from the north. What does that speak to?
Excellently. So that is the point I wanted to conclude on, that you can now see this is a message that is emanating from the north. And these are guys that are high ranking in the military. They are not like some junior officers who the new recruits that just came in and all whatnot. And each of these persons in one way or the other will have some links with serious opinion leaders in the north that you cannot just rule out. So it must be something that must have been orchestrated by a lot of persons. They would have involved a lot of traditional leaders, It's something that must have been planned by so many people, and then they are just the ones to implement it. They must have the backings of a lot of people, both religious, both traditional, opinion leaders, economic leaders and all whatnot. They must have tried to say, okay, this is what we're planning to do. How do you see it? And the people will be like, yes, this guy is dealing with us. The country is not fine. Things are not really going well, and all whatnot. But as much as we look at these things, if their ultimate motive is out of greed, it is sad and painful.
Okay.
And they have to be dealt with on the basis that we are not at a point where we should clamor for good governance.
Okay,
and when we are clamoring for good governance, we should clamor for good governance, seeking for good governance from an individual. We should seek for a leader with competence, capacity, compassion, and character.
All right. Now, Honorable, if you read it.
So if their agitation and whatsoever effort is tilted towards the fact that it has to be a northerner, then it is sad for our democracy.
It's sad for our democracy. Now, if you read it, yes, I get your point.
Is not from the north, then it's painful.
Okay, I get your point. If you read the political thermometer very well, clearly, do you think that the president will assent to the probable execution of those officers, knowing that it will finally pitch him against the north? Going to an election year, he seems very, very keen to return. Do you think that if the president looks, well, the north is clearly against me, and I go ahead to eliminate these officers predominantly from the north, do you think that the president will assent to them? Okay, take them out, because according to the letters of the law, if you plan to topple the country, but the sovereignty of this country through a military coup, you are liable to be killed. Do you think that the president will assent to that? Going into an election year when the north is already ganging up against him, what are your thoughts about that? Quickly.
I don't want to believe that Tinubu, who is a politically smart individual, will make that mistake, except if it confirms what I earlier said, that when the gods want to kill you, they will make you mad. Okay. So they may just face the same fate with Nnamdi Kanu at the moment, of maybe life imprisonment and all whatnot, because he knows very clearly the opposition are really going to hammer hard on it. And I don't even see him engaging that issue, because it's actually going to come up, and it will put him under serious pressure, because the military, the court-martialing process is not going to take long. Military don't have time to waste.
Okay.
Once the facts and figures are there at court-martial, they just make their pronouncements and all whatnot. So they will try to play some form of politics with it. Okay. Maybe try to, okay, let's make it to the regular courts where there will be a lot of adjournments and all whatnot. And then maybe when I secure my second term, then we deal with it properly. Okay. But if it comes before the second term, I want to assure you that except otherwise, he would just probably just ask them to go for life imprisonment.
Honorable, one last thing. The All Progressive Congress, APC, has dismissed reports suggesting plans to replace Vice President Kashim Shettima as Bola Tinubu's running mate ahead of 2027 general elections, describing them as speculative and baseless. While the party said it's not engaged in any 2027 discussions due to the ongoing ban on political activities, and remains focused on delivering Tinubu's renewed hope agenda and ongoing economic reforms. A senior APC chieftain, Yerima, warned that altering the Tinubu's Shettima ticket will harm the party's chances in 2027, describing those pushing the rumors as politically naive and short-sighted. He stressed that the same critics had opposed the ticket in 2023 and cautioned that internal discord could cost the APC DLA amid concerns raised over Shettima's perceived exclusion from some recent party activities. Honorable Shettima to be or not to be, APC has put out what looks like a disclaimer. Those calling for Shettima's removal as VP in 2027 aren't speaking for us. What do you see coming?
It's not being sincere to itself and to Nigerians. Some APC organs have already endorsed Tinubu, who permitted political activities when they now said that they are focusing on good governance. You know, so they are not just being sincere. It's something that is there. It's a consideration, it's a factor they are looking out for. And the options on the table largely is, if we are looking at pressure coming from the fact that if we remove Shettima, the northern people, a lot of them will turn their backs against us, then let us replace him with a Christian. I want to tell you at this point that this is one of those things that cajole my governor, you know, to come into the ruling party, where they are feeling that, okay, possibly let us have a Christian northerner, you know, that we can balance the ticket, because there is also this outcry of balancing the ticket, the Muslim thing, the marginalization and all whatnot. So much so that even those, the people within the Muslim family are also no longer comfortable with the Muslim ticket, because those who sold it to them, and with the reasons they sold it, they are not really seeing those reasons, because they felt, some of them felt that we will have more mosques built, we will have Sharia implemented everywhere in Nigeria, we will be able to have special markets and hospitals for our own children, special schools. We will be living better than the Christians, because it's our own country and the president and vice are ours. That is the mindset from some of the fundamentalists. Okay, but sadly, they are not seeing those things in reality now. And so they too are not feeling comfortable. It has set them apart with their Christian brothers and sisters. So they are now feeling they need to balance that ticket. It's a reality.
All right, then we need a balance on that ticket. Well, Honorable Pulevo, can you use 30 seconds to give me your concluding thoughts as fast as you can? We are out of time.
Okay, for me, I think number one, the reality is that 2027 is here, and Nigerians are feeling a lot of pinch of this administration thus far. And Nigerians are ready and willing to stand to vote. If you check the recent INEC statistic, check the records of voters so far, a lot of people are turning out to vote, to get their voters card. The people are ready to come out and vote and reject bad leaders. That is a reality. Individuals who feel they are going to play politics with the will and the mandate of the people will have to have a rethink. And going into APC will not be a safe haven for anybody come 2027, because the people will speak and they will stand to defend their votes.
Okay, they will stand to defend their votes. It's always interesting speaking with you, Honorable Felix Pascal Pulevo, Taraba State Chairman of Youth Party of Nigeria. I must say a very big thank you to you. And I hope that we can do this some other time, where we'll talk about the tax laws and articles presidency come 2027. Thanks very much for joining me. I appreciate your presence.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Chukuma. Thank you for always.
Okay, now on behalf of the backroom staff, I am Chukuma Okoro. Up next is Issues with Nana Andum Duto. Stay with us, 7 o'clock on top of the hour. Issues is the program. Bye for now.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People television, where your health has a voice.